Morning all. I've managed to do a reconstruction job for a game I played on Monday night, an over the board game just after the tournament, the Hearts Congress. On the Monday we were playing Chingford, Barnet against Chingford at home. I was playing against Brady, who's very enthusiastic about the YouTube channel, by the way, so I think he's used some of the lessons against me. He gave me an extremely tough fight, which I offered a draw at one stage. I thought it was actually busted as well, or if I was lucky to draw, but he refused to draw. But unfortunately for him, it didn't turn out as expected. But let's have a look at that game. So D4, I played D4, and I experimented with the Levitsky Attack. So was I pushing my luck too far with this, basically a system which I'm not too familiar with? Now playing C6 already. He imposed the psychological edge on the game. You know, am I going to be faced with a very solid, rock solid, still-like position with the bishop outside the pawn chain later? You know, maybe if this bishop's not there or blocked by the knight, you know, e6. Black will be rock solid here, and that was the case. So bishop f5. Okay, now he just needs to sort out this pin on the e pawn. Okay, so knight d7 first. And here I go a bit crazy. So he's making his position super solid, and I've got this strange thought here that actually, wouldn't it be nice to sort of make it into a stone wall position with the bishop outside the pawn chain? You know, haven't I seen Julian Hodgson play it like this? The problem is, okay, I'm binding e5, and later I have to try and bind c5. The problem with all this binding stuff, it creates a lot of pawn weaknesses, which could have actually been pounced on technically. If I had been playing Rivka, I would have been eaten alive straight from this opening, as I'll demonstrate. So knight gf6, so now I play e3. So you might think, oh, this is just reverse stone wall. But the problem is my bishop is also not able to go to its natural place to attack the king side. So I'm not without too many luxuries in this reverse Dutch stonewall. Alright, so now another great move, Queen B6, softening me up even more. What do I do about this pawn? I mean, now my bishop's out of the pawn chain, it's not actually handily protecting B2 or E3. So say I did play B3, I really didn't want to play that, you know, because maybe C5, Rook C8, and a later CD, you know, I thought my position would not be very stable. So I decide, yes, another pawn move. Let's flick in another pawn move, b4. So one pawn move deserves another. And okay, you might think, well, you know, if I develop some pieces and castle kingside, you know, this bind on these two squares, surely it's not going to be that bad. Well, I was a bit fortunate here that my opponent wasn't sensing the kill straight away here. Now if you put this through Ribka, check this out, a5, and white's position starts collapsing, because actually knight g4 is also a critical idea, just attacking e3, because what will I do to defend that? King e2, queen f3, these are like two of the only ideas to defend it. So after a5, say a3 and now knight g4. Okay, so if the queen moves now, then AB, and I'm not, you know, the queen's not protecting the rook, so I can't reply with AB, and it starts to get a bit nasty. Let's have a look. So queen f3 first, takes, say CB, now h6, and now look at this, e6, just simple threat now, bishop takes b4, and now say h3, then bishop b4 anyway. I know this is getting a bit technical, but bishop d2, and it's sort of blasting right now. Because if takes, then queen b2 and queen takes a1. So that's the sort of disaster scenario which has emerged as a result of too many pawn moves. Now say king e2. Now this gets, Ribka really laps up this position. h6, and now g5. g5 actually undermines white's control of e5 tactically. And you may wonder, well, what's the big deal of that? Well, fg. And now say knight knight d e5 now. Okay, so basically this pawn is now actually virtually pinned, because if d takes, there's queen takes e3 mate. So this would not be too pleasant to face. And I don't know about there's too many alternatives here. Black's actually threatening also Queen A6, which is pretty nasty as well, and other stuff. Okay, so that would be fairly horrific stuff to have to deal with. But this all didn't happen. Thankfully, I wasn't playing Rivka, so just played E6, and somehow I got away with having the bind on these two squares. And I played H3 now, cautiously, because I still thought, hang on, Knight F3's got Knight G4. I did notice it there, that Knight G4, and I would have to defend, actually, with either the king, which didn't look that pleasant because of Queen A6 checks, or Queen E2, which didn't look that pleasant because of A5. So I thought, okay, well, just one more pawn move, and that'll be it, and then surely I can start developing. So H3, okay. I would not recommend this opening as white, to be honest. I did manage to get away with it, but all these pawn moves spell out loads of weaknesses, spell out loads of tactical opportunities. Okay, so Knight E4, and I wasn't too worried about that. Okay, I take and then I can develop another piece. Now F6, again, I wasn't too worried. The bishop can go back to H4. Rook C8, I was starting to be relieved now, because I thought, well, he's taking the rook off at A5, so A5 is not such a big deal now. So I'm actually getting my binds idea to actually justify itself. So both sides castle, now Queen B3, and I was excited by the prospect now of A3 and C4, just to gain some space on the queen side. Bishop B8, releasing pressure off B4, so not even A3 is needed, so it's just C4 straight away. And I'm back in the game, I've got a slight advantage. What a relief from that opening, I thought. Okay, so Queen C7, and I thought, well, maybe actually there's some threats tactically, emerging here to do with this diagonal, G5s. So I was a bit cautious, but I thought Rook A C1 anyway for the moment. Now I thought, okay, let's get this bishop out of the firing line of any potential trickery with G5. So I'll put it on H2. Okay, now I can carry on, on the queen side, or put pressure on D5. So Knight D2, and actually he played a committal move. Instead of moving the bishop, he actually played F5, and I thought, wow, actually I can really, undermine light squares now after taking this bishop. So I'll take on E4, B5, and I saw that, B, C, C, D, and then bishop A6, and I'll dominate the C file. I'll come with my queen to B7, and maybe I'll pick up E6 in the end game, and this will be brilliant. I'll win this. Okay, that was the plan. So Knight F6, I take on C6, I take on D5, I play bishop A6, and it's all coming down like a pack of cards. Surely Black's position is coming down now. Rook takes C1, I'm coming in maybe, to B7. But now this H5, you see, I was half expecting G5, but actually I don't think G5 is too effective here, because there is a tactical vulnerability emerging here to do with this D6 square. Now if we add a Qb8 here, okay, let's add a Qb8 here. Let's check out G5 actually. It might actually be a good move. I don't know. I'm not sure I've checked this out. Okay, maybe it's not. G5. But FG is not given. Actually, we were checking at FG. Oh, and it is now. Okay, this is sharp, baby. So say this line, check. Okay, maybe I can just go here. Let's check out the simple line now, not Knight G4. Actually, that threatens mate. That's an interesting one to look at. But Queen A6 takes. Yes, we had observed one line with Queen B8 check and Queen E5 with Rook F6. I think that is the case, isn't it? That check. Even stronger than Queen E5. Maybe Queen G3 check and Rook C7. Queen E5 is pretty strong as well, but even this is much stronger. Okay, so you can see I'll actually get some piece coordination going and mating threats of my own. Right, because the check here is harmless. So that would be fine. G5 wasn't such a major issue then here. Alright. Let's stop that Qb8. Okay, so in the game H5. Now this does actually carry a lot of venom. It wasn't just to prevent g4, which maybe I should have considered, at some point before. There's an idea actually of h4, and h4 is wonderful actually for not only restraining my g-pawn, providing a knight outpost potentially for knight h5 to g3, but also coordinating the rook and knight on f1. And as we'll see, in fact, there was a great amount of coordination now that was generated. So King h1, bishop d6, and I went in for my queen b7 plan now, thinking I'd be getting e6, and in fact I did win e6 tactically with bishop c8, because to my delight here I thought king f7, I've got a nice move here. I wonder if you can spot it if I give you 10 seconds starting from now. Okay, I win material, f5. So I'm hitting d6, I'm threatening fe or bishop e6 check. So I've actually won a pawn. It's all going to be plain sailing, surely. g6. Okay, now I play another good move, which Rybka likes as well for some reason. So rook c6, just getting maybe the idea of rook a6, and that would be dangerous for this pawn. So he takes on h2. Okay, now surely you might think plain sailing, but no. Of course there's still that latent plan, h4. Okay, although black's a pawn down, he's got knight h5 to g3, he can start weaving the mating net. This is tricky, this position. And from an engine perspective, of course, it's not tricky, it's just clearly better for white. But I slip up with next best moves. There is this latent, basically, threat. Knight h5 to g3, rook f1 to h1. I slip up. I think I did spend a long time thinking I'll be able to get away with this, because once I'm about to be mated, I can snap up the h pawn. If I play here, 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 I can snap up this h pawn when the rook arrives on f1, just about to deliver a mate. That will give me g3 as an escape square. So I had my escape pod all planned out here. Okay, so I play check. Now the engine likes check here actually, and then rook a6. And you see, basically in this position, this idea actually immediately fails, doesn't it? Because of bishop g6 check. So there's no weaving at all here with that king on f7. So that's a nice finesse. And the king d7 I can just discover check. King d8 doesn't look too pleasant, because maybe rook a6. Or something even worse. Okay, but you get the picture. Rook e6 would have been better, but no. I play check, giving the king d6. So I'm committed now, very committed, to allowing this knight h5. And there's problems here. Basically, I can't actually play rook h7 here because the rook takes f5 anyway. So I play check. Whoops. Sorry, check. And now bishop g4. So I'm coming in via h6 to try and snap up h4. But now he plays knight g3. Okay, so I play my rook h6. And of course not rook f1. No, there's a stronger move which he played. He just wins my e3, and then he proceeds to win d4. And so he gets these two connected pass pawns in the centre. Okay, so check, knight takes e3, and here again clinical precision, and this really is a major optical illusion here. Can I take on h4? When I looked at it after with other people in the post-mortem, we all thought, they were convinced with my analysis, that white could not take on h4 because of knight takes g4 and e3. Let's have a look at this. Rook takes h4. Now, do you believe that white is losing this? This is absolutely amazing. For those that want to train that over the board visualization, would you say white can get away with this rook takes h4? I'll simplify the task for you if you want to check this out. Let's play knight takes g4.